I'll call this meeting of the Oxford Historic Preservation Commission to order. I think first, I'd like to thank the taxpayers of Oxford for our new furniture. It's very nice.
New chairs.
And the place looks great.
Yeah, the new paint looks nice.
Yeah,
I thought it looked really good downstairs.
Yeah, it does.
it does.
Really opens it up.
Very nice. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. We all have a copy of that. Is there a motion that we approve the agenda?
So moved.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda is approved. Next item is approval of the minutes from our last meeting, February 23rd. We have seen a copy of those minutes. Are there additions or corrections to the minutes that we've received? If not, is there a motion that we approve the minutes of the February 23rd meeting?
So moved.
Have a motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I don't believe there is a staff report today. Next item are administrative approvals. Are there any questions to the staff about the administrative approvals? If not, we'll move on to the public hearings. First case is number 723, a COA requested by Justin Crockett to build a new front porch and columns at 809 Lincoln Avenue. Kate, would you present the case for us?
Okay, so as Jack just noted, the applicant is seeking approval to add a front porch, roof, and columns above what's an existing front patio to the house located at 809 Lincoln Avenue. The house is listed as contributing in the South Lamar Historic District and is described as a one-story, 5-bay brick vineyard ranch house with modernist influence, built circa 1965. The commission doesn't often consider changes to ranch-style houses as there are not many within the boundaries of the city's historic districts. The style of house is characterized by very low-pitched roofs, broad facades, usually they're very wide houses, and usually a lack of decorative detailing. Asymmetrical one-story shapes are common, often with an off-center entry like the building that's the subject of this request. Should this project be approved, the existing front metal railings would be removed and a porch with columns would be added that would extend the width and depth of the existing front paving, which you can see in the photo, and we'll switch it over to the plans in just a second. Proposed materials include treated wood for the columns and asphalt shingle to match the existing house. The guidelines do address porches on ranch-style housing, noting that the ranch-style houses of 1950 and beyond sometimes have porches, but they're often little more than concrete decks beneath roof overhangs. The guidelines also recommend in the entrances recommendations to avoid installing architectural features that are incompatible with the age and style of house. So I included for you guys just a little bit more information in your report about ranch-style housing, just since we don't see it a lot, including an image showing typical ranch-style front entries. That doesn't mean that every ranch house was built with one of these kinds of entries in the image. It's just the most common types. So staff finds that the proposed porch is not consistent with the recommendations of the design guidelines, and that's why we recommended denial of the request. However, the commission may decide that since the entry is already altered by the existence of that front patio and railings, the commission may choose to approve the addition of the porch. And if so, staff finds the proposed materials to be appropriate for this building and also based on the recommendations of the design guidelines. So I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have about the staff report. The building owner is here, Justin, if anyone has questions for him.
We're glad to have you here. If there are questions.
Julie's on virtually, right?
She's on her way, but
Okay.
okay.
Okay, cool. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Kate. We've heard the details of the case, transforming a bit the front porch, adding a roof between the two gables that are existing, and replacing the wrought iron with a simple posts. Are there comments or questions that any of the commissioners have for the homeowner or case?
In addition to the painted masonry, is any other additions or alterations been done to the house since it was new, or are we looking at exactly what it looked like in 1965 when it was built?
That's where it was incorrect. It was actually built in the 50s.
Okay.
If you would come and introduce yourself, please, sir, for the record.
Thank you. Justin Crockett, homeowner, 809 Lincoln.
Welcome.
The house was built in the early 50s, and I believe the only alteration since that time is at the west end was turned in from a carport to like an enclosed room, and that was done sometime in the 70s, I believe.
So the front patio isn't an addition? The front?
The front patio that you're talking about, the brick pavers, those have always been there,
Okay, interesting.
to my knowledge.
Yeah.
So you won't be doing anything to the pavers or the steps?
No, so the general idea was to be congruent with what was already in the neighborhood, and there's a house to the east and west. We're equal with those porches, and I've gone around and asked all the neighbors. I've shown the neighbors the plans. I have all the neighbors' support. But yes, the idea is to remove the wrought iron, use the bricks that are already there, not extend any forward, and just put a covered roof over that to make it usable.
Thank you.
Is the metal roof something you want, or is it what, I mean, it's been recommended to you to do the metal roof?
Well, I think the metal.
Why are you not doing the shingles?
Well, I think the metal roof is more for aesthetics, curb appeal.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, the application said asphalt shingle, so you're proposing metal?
I think if you, but
The call-outs
yeah,
say metal.
yeah, the metal.
Okay.
It's, if I recall, there's a little conflict because I think the written document actually says metal roof, but the illustration is showing shingles.
Yeah. But it should be shingles.
I saw it somewhere in the document where it said metal roof.
Yeah, the word metal roof appears somewhere in the
It's,
document.
the word metal is in the,
It says metal, but the
yeah.
application says shingle and the picture shows shingle. So are you requesting a metal roof? Or asphalt shingle?
So it was intended to be shingle, but,
Yeah, I mean, I think I could go whatever if the board has.
It just seems like it's the first thing you see when you come up to the house, and it's a little bit in your face being metal. If it was in the back over a porch or something, or if the slope is so low on the roof that you can't do it any other way, sometimes that's the reason for doing that. It's often done, but that's kind of the defining feature of the house now is this metal roof in front. Just one person's opinion, but perhaps a little more consistency there might be. Not calling attention to it as opposed to calling it.
Other opinions about a metal roof, new metal roof versus a shingle roof that I assume would match the existing shingle roof?
I like the metal roof in that, just that little section.
and the Howarth House, there's a lot of metal roof at the end of that, end of Lincoln. Just either way, it would be, seems consistent.
I think both my neighbors to the east and west both have metal roofs over their existing porches.
Any other comments about the surface of the roof, the new roof? So the COA calls for a traditional shingle roof. I guess I'm just asking if I call for a vote.
The application was intended for shingle, but there is an inconsistency. The note says metal on the drawing, but,
That's what it was.
so the application is requesting shingle.
So maybe whatever motion is made.
Yeah.
could include the roof.
So are there other questions about any part of this or comments from any commissioner? If not, then the chair would entertain a motion that would agree with the written document, and that is that it would be a traditional shingle roof. Now, I hear folks that are okay with metal.
Could the motion be for either, it's close. I put shingle on there because I think shingle will work as far as the slope, but it's borderline. So if we got out there and it was just not quite steep enough, metal would be better. Is it possible to make the motion for either?
I think it is, because we seem to have a mixed opinion of it. So I would accept a motion to approve the COA with the caveat that the texture of the roof could be either metal or shingle.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is case number 724, COA requested by Will Guest to enclose an existing screened front porch and to build a rear addition at 1580 Buchanan Avenue. Kate?
Okay, 1580 Buchanan Avenue is described in the Historic Resources Inventory Survey for the building as a one-story, four-bay frame English cottage built circa 1935. The building is listed as contributing in the Historic District. So you noted in the staff report that I described each proposed change with comment, so I'll just go over that quickly. The applicant proposes to enclose an existing screened front porch by installing wood 6/6 windows with a 3-light transom above. Staff finds the windows to be appropriate in material and style for the building, particularly with the addition of that transom window above the double hung windows. You're still able to read that those windows are infill when you're comparing with the historic windows on the other side of the property, and it's doing sort of like glassing in the front porch. The guidelines recommend on new additions that architectural detailing should complement rather than exactly duplicate the detailing of the historic resource. So staff finds that that infill meets those recommendations should the commission find it appropriate to enclose that porch. The applicant also proposes to build a new rear addition. The gable roof addition mirrors the existing rear addition that's on the other side of the patio, which you can see on that site plan. The red is the new addition. Staff finds the location of the addition and the proposed materials, which will match existing on the house, as appropriate. The only other issue there is that the proposed addition protrudes into the side yard setback, so the applicant is applying for a variance from the Planning Commission, which has not yet been granted. That'll be at the next meeting. So staff is recommending approval of the COA with the conditions that the necessary side yard variance is obtained from the Planning Commission, and with the second condition that final approval by staff at the time of permitting is given for the window and door schedule, because there were a couple of areas, particularly on the rear of the new addition, that it specs a new door and new windows for the addition, and a window and door schedule wasn't provided. So, and we'll guess the property owner is here if anyone has questions for him.
Thank you, Kate. Discussion for case number 724 is open. Questions from any of the commissioners?
I'm assuming the carport is not part of the plan.
It's not at this time, no.
Everybody understand the particulars that are being requested? Kate, there are a couple of items that the staff needs to approve and the planning department needs to approve as well. A motion to consider this, is it, do we need to add anything to the letter?
I think the two conditions are sufficient. And if the applicant were to propose a door that doesn't meet the guidelines, then they would have the option to come before the commission if staff wouldn't approve it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously he'll need the variance, so that's what other conditions.
Right.
Can I just tell you the doors were easy?
Yeah, sure. Do you want to come up?
Yeah, you're welcome. Please come up and introduce yourself for the record, and we'll be happy to hear your comments.
Well, we would need it anyway since it's not included with the ring materials.
Okay. So do
But
I,
you'll have to submit that when you go through a permit, so.
Okay.
It's not any information about what you normally.
my name's Will Gust. The doors will be 2 sets of French doors, and they're from the bank. So they're gonna be probably, I don't know, from the 1800s.
Okay. Great.
So that,
That's why I said close them back there. Do you need that?
We're recording the meeting and it's on YouTube.
Okay,
So that's
do you
fine.
need that though?
You can include it when you go for your permit, we will need it. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Guest. I think we welcome anything from the 1800s that Kate approves of. Is there a motion to approve the COA as requested by Mr. Guest?
Subject to staff conditions?
I'm sorry?
Would that be subject to staff conditions?
Well, I just asked Kate, and she says it's all
Well, with the two conditions that we suggested, everything is
fine,
good.
so that needs to be part of the motion.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any other question or observation? If not, all in favor of approving the request, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. This is a short and sweet meeting. Any other business? If not, is there a motion that we adjourn?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.